Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dami Adejoro. It's nice to have you tuning in to watch this. Really glad that you clicked on this video to watch. So fast forward to January. This is 2023 now. Imagine your body has been failing you and you don't know why, and it got bad. I think Sunday of that year, the first Sunday of the year was the first day of the year, because I remember that was the last time I went to church, and about a week later I could not walk. How did we get here? I know I would just get up to want to move and my knees are feeble and I fall down. This is serious. I forgot to also add that at this point I couldn't pee on my own. Like, I want to pee, I didn't know I want to pee. There was a pain in my tummy that made me realize that, I think it's time to pee. And I called my doctor again, the one I said had been seeing me, and he was like, damn it, this is now an emergency case. You need to go back to the hospital. Remember, I'd stopped going since November. You need to go back to the hospital. Okay, I struggled with it, to be honest. I felt like I was spending too much money and nobody was telling me what was going on. Then my big mom, I call her my big mom, that's my pastor's mom that I said I was close to, she called me and said, Dami, get up and go to the hospital. So I realized I was giving excuses. First it was, who will pick my daughter from school, hospital time takes longer. She was like, is mommy not aware, is your sister not aware? I'm like, my sister goes to work. I just gave all the excuses possible to give. Eventually she was like, send me your mommy's number. So she called my mom. I don't know how their conversation went. I just know that my mom came to my house a day later. The day she came, we couldn't go to the hospital, so we waited another day and then we went. I think it was a Monday. Remember, I couldn't walk, so obviously we had to use Uber. I got there, she held me, just dragged me, we sat down somewhere. And then when it was my turn, the doctor that saw me, I was scared because she screamed. I'm like, people are dramatic or what? Okay. But to be honest, if you saw me, it reached to be dramatic. I mean, look at the pictures. They've never seen anything like that. And the doctor screamed. I'm like, this is an emergency case. Why is she here? What's going on? What happened to all of the questions? Wow, I knew this was going to get intense. Anyway, she saw me, she screamed, and it was the scream I understood. I think I have a picture from that day. I'm going to go see her. And immediately she wrote something in the paper. She asked them to get wheelchair, and they wheeled me straight to the emergency. I remember looking at that paper. She wrote chronically ill looking. Means that this is abnormal, right? So I was at the emergency. But in my country, healthcare, you have money safe, you have the money. Healthcare isn't all that. So usually there's no bed space, there's a lot of back and forth. So I got there, they didn't even attend to me on time. My mommy I could see that she was agitated, and to be honest, I understood. It's not easy losing a child to something like that, and then another child of yours is being diagnosed for the same thing. So I saw the nervousness in her, but me, I couldn't even talk or pet anybody or comfort anybody. So I was just there. I couldn't sit. That's the thing, because of how much weight I had lost. I couldn't sit like as I'm sitting now. It was like I'm slouching, something like that. Like, oh Lord. And the doctors came out, they were like, emergency pass emergency, to be honest, because they were like, this one can still wait. So they went ahead to attend to other emergency, more critical case than mine. I mean, someone right there was running mad, so I understood. After waiting for about 4 hours, I was finally attended to. They asked all the questions. They were like, oh, this is emergency, because now they've heard that I had not been eating for about 3 months before now. That's insane. So after they attended to me, sorry, the next issue was there was no bed space. Everything they could do, and then they created bed space for me, and I was building. I remember as soon as I got in, and my mom was asked to make some payments, because now I'm supposed to change into one ugly looking outfit that every other patient around me was wearing. It felt like uniform. It was a female ward, obviously, and the first thing I noticed was everybody around me, and I'm like, oh my god, different cases already just from looking at them. Oh my god. And so my mommy came, we changed into that, and I remember I took out my phone because my face was strong. I knew that devil was playing with me all this while, but my face was still strong. So I took out my phone. I think I recorded something saying, I'm going to put the video here, where I said, God, I know you won this battle for me. So I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. Oh. Trust you. The devil will not win this one. And here you have it. Whew, the doctor, the consultant came in, and I remember she looked at me and she said, well, after hearing what I've been feeling, it's either of two things. It's either it is cancer or tuberculosis. Immediately I said, oh, I've done a lot of tuberculosis tests and they came out negative. She said, well, we'll run our own test, right? And she left. She came back with someone else. They asked me questions from the day I was born. They wanted to know if I had allergies, surgeries I had done before. It was just a lot of questions, like I was writing exams for all of this to understand what's going on. So I get it. And then the next thing the doctor said to my mom is, do you have money? If you do not have money, start to call your family members. You are going to spend money. My mommy was already scared, like, not because of the money, but if they're telling you that you're going to spend money, it feels really serious. But, well, we all knew it was serious. And we look at how I looked. After hearing the fact that it could be cancer or TB, after the doctor left, I was left in my thoughts. And I know I kept thinking, the shock of cancer. But even for me, the greater fear of TB, I mean, I told you what had happened, the family history. And I'm like, no, it was just a tough moment. I'm like, no, not again. How would one sister have died from TB? Another one is here having it. And I know it's an airborne disease already. I've been reading about it. I didn't see this girl for a long time before she eventually died. So how? I was not in contact with her. Did that mean I got in contact with somebody else that had it? It was just a lot of questions in my heart. Remember that I had been struggling to eat, and so they pumped me with drip. I spent 3 days at emergency. My mom would be able to answer the amount. I knew it was over 20. I can't remember the exact amount. One drip after the other, just so that I am stable. They were trying to stabilize me. And then the first thing they said when I started the treatment was I was going to need a blood transfusion. They said something was low. I can't remember. Something that their test was very low and I need a blood transfusion. I'm like, really? This serious? And so we are going to have to buy blood. But if I have anybody that could donate blood, I should call them. I called my friends. God, thank you. Thank you for the friends I have. I called my friends. The ones that could show up came. Most of the ones that showed up, that's how weird this is. They were not eligible to donate blood for different reasons. But they brought people I didn't even know. So let's say I call my friend that I need blood. She brought another friend of ours. And those ones, the ones they brought were eligible, except for one of my friend, Ike. Ike, thank you. And all of them donated blood for me and left. I think the first miracle God did was making sure that I did not need that blood, because I'm like, not like it's a big deal. Maybe it is a big deal, but I just knew. I was looking at myself and I'm like, so I'm going to be getting a blood transfusion. It just meant a lot. Like, if God could give me a sign that He was with me, let me not need this. I remember clearly saying something like that. And 3 days after, I was wheeled into the major ward with other people. Means that I'm no longer an emergency case. I'm getting stable. With constant treatment, I'll get better. And now I was beginning to take food little by little, but I could only swallow. It was difficult for me to chew. So now I'm in the female ward. And a day or two after I got there, the doctor came and said, I do not need the blood transfusion anymore. That surprisingly, I can't remember what it is, just went as high as they needed it to be. And so that's fine now. And that gave me a glimpse of hope. I was really happy. Okay, so what's going on? Can you tell us now? At this point, I spent 5 days in the hospital. And they were like, they can't say it, they can't conclude. They're still waiting for other tests to come. Some have come, but it's not enough for them to conclude. We have to wait for all of the other tests. I was already getting tired. This is what they did before that. They didn't know what was going on with me. Now it's a thing of you have to wait and wait again. What's going on? And best believe, I had spent money. My mom, because I won't say me at this point. How much did I have anymore? I'd been spending before now. So my mom, I spent almost 500k just doing tests. I'm not joking. I kid you not. And they were just changing needles all over my body just to get blood or just to give me drip. Days I would cry. I could no longer see my daughter because I mean she can't be around me. I remember she would call, "Mommy, can I come and see?" I'll be like, "No, you can't come here. This place is not LD for children to be." So I could not really talk over the phone. But the times I did, I called and we spoke. After 7 days, because I remember one of the doctors that was really nice to me. They were actually very kind in this particular hospital. I called them like, "I feel like you guys know what's going on, but you're not telling me. I don't know why." And she was like, "To be honest, it's TB, but they can't say anything until the consultant is here. And consultants, because it was weekend at the time or something, consultants will not be around until the proper weekday." Oh, okay. As I heard it was week TB, I was shocked. Not like I didn't see it coming, but I was really shocked. I was really shocked. I'm like, "Oh wow, okay." So I was finally glad. I was, maybe glad is not the word. I was finally relieved to know what was happening, but scared at the same time. Really, really scared. I'm talking to you. I'm reliving these experiences. It wasn't a good experience, to be honest. And now that we finally know the diagnosis, they have told me that there's no space in their private ward and they will need to refer me to an infectious disease center. I'm not going to be mentioning this one's names because they are the most unkind set of medical practitioners I have experienced in my entire life. And I don't want drama, so I'm just going to leave it out. But yeah, this is where viral diseases like TB are sent to, and so I was sent there. But I was asked to wait till Monday. My mom was like, "No, there was no point since they've said they can't treat me here anymore." And one of our friends was around with a car. Instead of them having to use their ambulance to carry me there, we could as well just go. I'm going to attach a video where you see my sister recorded this one in the car. Yeah, this was what I looked like after a week of being in the hospital. And when I first came in, I could not walk by myself. They still had to hold me, but it was still better than before. Now, I remember as we were driving into this hospital, I don't know what, I felt goosebumps literally, because I'm like, this is what happened to my sister. They had to separate her for a while, because now that this means I'm coming to where I'm going to be seeing only TB patients. And I'm like, it felt like she was separated before she eventually died. So it just felt like you are driving towards death. I don't know if that made sense. Maybe not necessarily how I said it, but there was that. And I my mom was crying as well. And you know that thing where they're asking you to do this, pay for bed space, buy this, and she was just going left, she was going right. And I'm like, "Mommy, calm down." She didn't, you know, when I could tell that even for her, the whole being in that space, I mean, at the hospital we're coming from, you had different cases, but yeah, it's the same. So I know, and she was one who was with my sister up until she gave up anyway. So I knew that it was a lot for her. And so I just spoke to my sister. My sister was like, "Mommy, just sit down. Let me be the one doing the run arounds." But she couldn't stay still, and I felt really bad. Number one, because I have made that woman go through hospitals because of health issues, even before TB. I'm someone who has gone through a series of health challenge from my teenage years. Imagine my mom being in one hospital or the other. So it was so awful to see her like that. Anyway, we paid for the bed space. We got to the bed space, another journey. Because I remember now, this is not like where I was coming from. If my bed space was here, the next person was like 5 beds away from me, but no beds in between. So a bed, another bed at the extreme end, and then just one. So we're just 3 in a very big room. Of course, I'd been reading and I realized that with TB patients, you need all the ventilations you can get. So all the windows were wide open because you need air to pass out whatever. And anybody that's coming into this place, into the hospital facility at all, you cannot enter without face mask. I'm like, wow. At this point, my mom needed to rest. She had been with me for a week. She barely slept. So we called my dad. My dad came to take over. She went back home to rest. And so I remember my dad adjusting the bed. Because he was not really the one with me for the past week, I had to fill him in and all of that. And I know that before I knew it, the other doctors came, they were like, they can't trust the test result. I'm like, the test is from a old teaching hospital. They were like, they still have to run down, no problem. Until then, they should put me outside. Why? They said something, I didn't understand the why. I was so scared that I heard them talking in whispers, and I'm like, wait, my case is that serious? Because if the space between me and the next person is that wide, and now you're saying they should put, because I was the only one outside on the corridor, so it felt like my case is as bad that they don't want me to infect other people. Jesus, I cried my eyes out. I cried. I'm like, Jesus, so is this serious? Why am I the only one on the corridor? Of course, I was still coughing. At this point, the symptoms graduated. I was vomiting. Oh my goodness. At the hospital I was coming from, I was able to eat and keep everything down. Their food, this one, I don't know, for some reason, maybe my body, my mind was just not ready to be here. Everything I started taking in, I started vomiting. One of my friends that I'd not seen in a while came, and she was the one that was still coming to see me for that period, because I didn't really let anybody come in, because I was also worried about the fact that anybody could get infected, and I didn't want that at all. And so, that happened, really. That happened. They came and they were like, oh, they done the test. We found out that it's true, it is this. And I said, sorry, please, can I ask, why am I segregated? And they were like, oh, TB, even though you all have TB here, there are grades to it. And we don't want a case where just my TB at this level, and then somebody who has higher grade, you go and get more, something like that. So apparently they segregated me because they didn't want other people to infect me. But I think the other doctor said there was no need, they should return me back into that ward. And for the 3 days that I was there, my dad was not only taking care of me, he was taking care of another patient opposite me, right? I didn't understand on time, but we eventually realized that the person who was staying with her was barely around, and she could barely move. She needed help. So my daddy, as he was doing mine, he was doing ours. I mentioned that so that you understand when I'm talking about the people I watched that died. All of that happened. Now, I thought that was where I was going to stay till I left, but then I was moved to another ward, and this is where it gets tricky. In this particular ward, there is no space. You are just your bed, one person stands the bed, one person stands the bed, and lots of patients. I saw things. And that was when I remember that I talked about, oh, TB could affect the spine, the stomach, because I saw TB, someone with stomach TB, different things coming out. And my God, that place, if I had any level of energy or faith, everything just went down. I was so discouraged. Whew. And then the series of tests came. I didn't start the medications on time, but they came to explain the whole process to me. I'm going to use 4 because the bacteria for TB is such a stubborn bacteria that it is hard to kill, right? And so it's going to take a 6-month treatment. And they told me my drug will be taken at 6 a.m. I must eat at 7 a.m. Not 6:01. They kept ringing it into my ears. If you know you do not want a relapse. If you know you do not want a relapse. And all I kept hearing is, oh wow, my sister had a relapse. Are they saying she didn't use her drugs properly? Because if they're saying if I don't want to have a relapse, use your drug properly. But she used it. The woman was just calming me down that, let me know, don't think about it that way. We started the treatments. Series of unkindness. In fact, a lot of people that died, quite a number of them, I felt like they were neglected. I felt that place was such a horrible place. It was such an horrible experience for me. And then fast forward to, I just realized that as soon as the drug started, I started reacting badly to it. The first day I can laugh about it now, but it was not funny at all. I didn't like that place at all, and I didn't like what it did to myself and my mom. Now, fast forward to the first person I saw die. If you remember, I was in emergency. The first person I actually watched die was in the emergency at the hospital I was coming from. It was the same day I got there. This woman, I knew I saw her and I was contemplating, is she alive? Because her bed was just like adjacent to mine. Is she alive? Is she fine? And then I know I had people murmuring that they should call the doctor. I don't think this woman, because they are all on oxygen. In that emergency room, I was the only one who wasn't on oxygen. And they were like, they think our oxygen has failed. I don't know who went to call the doctor. Doctor wasn't forthcoming. And I laid on my bed. I just saw her. I literally saw how life was seeping out. And you know how at some point it felt like I wasn't seeing any movement. I'm like, don't tell me this woman has died. And doctor came about 15 minutes later, started to resuscitate her. She was gone. And her dead body laid there for hours. They came to eventually carry it about 2 hours after. And I remember her husband coming in and seeing, what? Oh my God, this is not something anybody should experience. And I kid you not, an hour after, they've cleaned the bed because they need bed space, and they've put somebody else there. That was the first death I experienced at the former hospital. Now this hospital, the unkind people hospital, and the next person was a woman. Remember the first one I was? We were 3. The one my dad helped with myself, and then one other woman. And this woman, they had also brought her from that ward. I could see her. They had also brought another woman to that ward. We were 6 when I got into this new ward. We were 6. There was a young girl beside me, and then other women. The other one opposite me, I didn't want to look there at her because she was one who had stomach TB. And the first person died. Like they'll bring their black bag, open it, put the body inside. That thing did something to me. I'm not even joking with you. I remember the second time they rushed that woman in around 3 a.m. It felt like her heart was outside her flesh. Oh my God, because I could see how the heart was beating. My goodness. And I tried not to look there, but I couldn't help it. And I know that the family, the children, because an elderly woman, were running helter-skelter. The second day, my big mom came to see me with daddy, with her husband, and I felt so loved. And I realized that the woman I said that her heart was out, the daughter was greeting Big Mom. Apparently, Big Mom used to be a teacher and saw her. And she went, she prayed with the mom, and then the mom that came to see me and her husband left. And about 30 minutes later, this woman was gone. I literally watched them and I was just crying. I literally watched them resuscitate her. They kept performing, what's it called now, on her? Is it CPR? Not really, because this time around they're just trying to bring her back. And she died. And I remember they were telling me, Dami, look away. Dami, you don't have to look here. Dami, just turn to the wall. I couldn't. I just kept looking. That was the second person. And I'm like, in the space of minutes, are you telling me that this person is gone? And I remember all that kept playing in my mind is, you will suffer here on earth, and you will still maybe end up where you're ending up eternally, the wrong side, and still suffer. And no, it was such, and oh my God, it felt like a torture. Why am I watching people die? This was the third person. And then again, they brought the black bag. And they put her in. I was already having it. This is aside so many deaths outside where you are hearing people shout, hey, ha. Those ones I didn't really witness, I heard. These are the ones I witnessed. And the third person who left. And the fourth person left. And then fast forward to the day I had it up to here, 3 people died in my ward. And I'm not in the space of 2 people died in the space of 20 minutes. And the last person died about hours later. And then there was this woman, the third woman in the ward I was initially, that was also brought to the new ward we were both in. From there, she had been shouting in a dialect that I don't even know how to say it. More like she's saying, it's like her chest is going up. But she kept saying it in Yoruba language. She said her chest is going up, and she screamed. She didn't sleep overnight. I couldn't even sleep. And they would call the doctors, please come and attend to her now. They would tell her that she's being too much. Even her children were saying that she's embarrassing them. She should keep quiet. And I'm like, this person is complaining that she's in pain. Why is everybody telling her to keep quiet? And then I just know I heard a loud sound. Apparently, she fell. And then she fell. She was trying to crawl. And she was crawling, and other patients were shouting that they should please get her back in bed. And as they were trying to lift her, it felt like they were lifting a lifeless body. And I looked at her. No, I just saw this woman try to get down, and she was gone. Oh my goodness. And this is when the family members were crazy, because they were like, they've been telling you that this woman was complaining about this. You kept, the woman had died. I was still trying to process that. I heard another loud, this is my bed, the bed here. And I heard the visitor, they started shouting, please answer me. No, don't do this to me. Please. And the people on the left are still shouting. And I'm looking at the right. The woman is gone. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And their bodies were still there, because they didn't come immediately. And before I knew it, people from the mortuary came with their black bags again. Some on this side, some on this side. I literally thought I was going to die, because it felt like everybody they brought into that ward left dead. Everybody they brought into that ward that I saw left dead. The only people that did not leave dead were people I left there. I don't know if they eventually left dead or not. My mom was just encouraging me in the Lord, praying over me. I will not cry over you. This will not happen. That will not happen. I cried. It was not a good experience. It wasn't. Nobody should witness that. And I know people are saying TB is something you get cured of, but these people died and they suffered. That was the most painful part. I saw people cough out blood every day, and they died. And I was just there quiet. I remember one of the nurses came and said maybe I should take a walk. At this time, they had been encouraging me to take walks. She was like, maybe I should take a walk, maybe it will help. And I just didn't want to. And I did. I took a walk. I got outside again. Another family is crying. They just lost someone. And that was it. I just went back inside. And my mom was just saying over me, we are going to live here alive. You will not die, but live to declare the glory of God. You're going to live here alive. And it was just repeated again and again and again. I knew she was being strong for me. It was a lot for her. And then fast forward to ninth time, the lady I had said that my dad helped. I just know that I saw white stuff coming out from her mouth and her nose. Now I was scared. What's going on here? Apparently she was battling something else with TB. And at this point, a day before, she had started getting paralyzed from one side down. My dad had been speaking to the person who was taking care of us. So he had called, I think you need to come and see your sister. I can hear her name as I'm speaking, because I know they kept calling her name. And the white stuff, they called doctor. Doctor did not show up for 30 good minutes, because I looked at the time. And I'm like, if I stay here, these people, even if you are meant to get better, you will not get better, because you will just die. Because the neglecting was on another level. And the nurses tried their best. And she gave up the ghost. I didn't cry, I wailed. It was a loud groaning. And I'm like, Mommy, I don't want to be here anymore. And I said, is this what my sister went through? Like, who knows to what extent? What, maybe they neglected her. I just kept shouting. You would think I was the one who lost the person. I was just wailing. And I was not wailing alone. My mom was wailing with me. We literally held each other and cried, because I just kept saying, my sister must have suffered before she died. That she must have suffered. And I watched the lady died, and her brother came. That man is such a strong person. He told them to let him bathe her. He cleaned her body himself. Whew. And I think this was just the last straw for me, because as soon as they brought the black bag to put this lady inside the bag, I just told my mom, I don't want to be here anymore. Can we please go? I feel like I'm stronger, and even if I'm not, since they said you always come back to get your medications, let me go home and be coming. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to. My mom said drips. I could use tablets, so it made sense that I could go home. I didn't need to be there. So when they came to ask me, I'm like, yes, please, I would like to go home. And then we had to process. I remember it was Valentine's Day, February 14th. Now that is January 30th, 2023. And I was discharged. Hmm. And I remember as we got to the gate, to the exit gate, the security men were like, "Ẹ kú oríire o." And what they were literally saying is, "Congratulations. Ah, not everybody that entered this place leaves." Do you know what that means? It means the number of people that died there. You kept saying, "Congratulations. Ah, don't know what God has done for you." It felt like a big deal. And that's where it started to ring in my ear. God, you saved me. Because truly, I entered that ward with about 6 people. They all died except one person. And I'm like, God, you saved me. And it's just it's not just the people in my ward, not talk of other words. And I'm just saying, God, you saved me. Thank you. Of course, I was still wearing face mask. Of course, this period, I couldn't stand it. I always needed to be under fan. I could not stand it one bit. So the journey back home was a lot, but we did it. Guys, this is a 3-year happening. I'm trying so much to, leave out details so as to not make it too long. But I think there's some things that just can't be left out for it to make sense. Thank you so much for watching. So, because this is a journey that started in 2022 and it's a journey that is still being played out, I mean, I've realized that this is not something that it can't fully fit into one video or even a few. So, moving forward, I'll be starting a series to take you through each phase one step at a time. And in case you're wondering, this video looks different from the one I just watched. Yes, that's correct. That's because the video you just watched was a one-time recorded video and will be splitted into 3. One you know much. Please do not forget to like, to subscribe, to leave a comment. And if you know someone going through one health challenge or the other, or they can just simply relate with all of this, please kindly share it with them. See you during the next episode. Bye.